Yo, what's up, everyone? It's Theo here, and we're back at it again with another video. And today, I want to talk about what's real, right? I want to talk about what applies in the real world: money, power, respect. Now, the thing is this: so many people have the wrong perspective in respects to money. They'll say things like, it's easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. They'll say things like, well, money is the root of all evil. Then they'll say things like, well, money can't buy you happiness. Let me reply to all these. First, it is easier for a camel to fit through the eye of a needle than it is for a rich man to get into heaven. All this talks about is attachment. Don't be attached to money, because if you're unwilling to give it all up, then this shows that money is your master. Money is a beautiful servant, but a terrible master. Number two, money is the love of money is the root of all evil. It's the love of money, not having money. God never demonized prosperity. He demonized attachment. He said, "Don't love it like you love other people." You use money and love people, but most people love money and use people. When you live in reverse, LIVE, it's evil, EVIL. And finally, money can't buy you happiness. I'm gonna tell you one thing: poverty ain't gonna buy you anything. So let's get the facts of this. Let's get the facts of the matter, right? There's a few definitions for money, and we're going to talk about them. Money is the harvest of our production. Money is the byproduct of value creation. Money is a medium of exchange. All these names. Money is a reward received for a service rendered, right? And we have to understand one thing. There's a season for sowing, there's a season for reaping, and you cannot do both in the same season. You have to plant your seeds. You got to take action. An ounce of doing things is worth more than a pound of theorizing. That's why I make these videos, because I understand the power of compound interest. Wealthy people set themselves up for the future. Poor people set themselves up for the weekend. And I'm thinking generations ahead, right? This is a game of chess to me. And I'm thinking generations ahead. I'm not thinking just 2 steps ahead. I'm not thinking just 3 steps ahead. I'm thinking generations ahead. One thing I understand is the mind, and the mind should be the master, right? The mind, because be ye transformed by the renewing of the mind. You can't transform anything until you transform what's in here. And what's in here? Because you have your conscious mind and your subconscious mind, right? Your paradigm. We'll talk about that in another video. Power. What is power? Power is the ability to get people to act in service of your goals, be it through violence or incentive. Because the basic human motives are based on the avoidance of pain or the accumulation of pleasure. So when we talk about power, right? The thing about it is our rights, what we call rights, yeah, that doesn't mean anything if you're unable to put force behind it. If you cannot enforce your rights, you don't have any rights. If you don't act on your rights, you don't have any rights. Freedom, in other words, is an act of courage, because you have to be willing to speak up and speak out. And if you don't act on your rights, you don't have any rights. So when we talk about power, you see, the game does not run on gratitude. The game runs on power. If you're unable to harm someone or benefit someone, you are functionally wallpaper. Your goals, desires, and dreams mean nothing to them. They're totally irrelevant, and you don't even exist until you're able to benefit someone incentivize, or harm someone, threaten. And it's just like Syndrome said off of The Incredibles. He said, "You didn't respect me until I became a threat." So we have to understand that unless you have the exact thing that that person wants, or unless you're able to apply force onto that person, you're wallpaper. You don't exist. Respect, right? Respect is about the recognition of other people's desires, rights, values, and their feelings. You recognize that that other people outside of yourself have these things, and instead of imposing yourself on them and forcing yourself on them, you learn how to incentivize. You see, there's a difference between persuasion and convincing. I was talking to my cousin Tay about this a while back, and we had somewhat of a disagreement at the time, but I think we've come more in alignment with our definitions now. But when you're trying to convince someone of something, you are essentially trying to get them to do something based on your desires for your reasons. But when you flip it, right, and put things straight, you are then trying to persuade. So persuasion is when you are trying to get someone to do things based upon what they want for their own reasons. It's a completely different mindset. It goes from what can I get from you to how can I serve you? How can I help you? How can I get you to the next level? And if you're not helping me evolve, you're a distraction. This is a game of chess, not checkers. And there's a certain way you have to go about this game. There are two different rules. And now that I understand the rules, I can bend them to my will. I understand power, which makes me a powerful individual. But it all starts with literacy, right? Reading and writing. If you can read, and if you can write, and if you can understand what I'm talking about, you are a powerful person. And it's not about how you feel. I don't care about what you think. I don't care about what you feel. It's not about that. Especially in regards to power, right? Because as we know, right, power does not go to the smartest. Power does not go to the strongest. And power does not go to the fastest. In fact, power goes to the one that is willing to do whatever it takes to achieve what they want to achieve. You have to be ruthless in respects to results. You have to be ruthless in regards to results, guys. You have to be resilient, meaning when you fall down 7 times, you got to get up 8 times. You got to have unmatched perspicacity. You have to be observant. I mean, be vigilant while you're observing. Pay attention. Because the knockout punch is never the punch they see coming. They can dodge, they see coming. The knockout punch comes from the one they don't see coming. And also having sheer indefatigability. Because if you're in a fight, if you're in war, and your opponent sees you tired, sees you're fatigued, you're done. You're out of there, right? So, guys, listen. Let's eliminate distraction and realize in all labor there is profit. But idle talk leads to poverty. I'm not here to just talk about it. I'm putting my money where my mouth is. I'm actually doing what I'm talking about. Well, how much money you make? It's not about the money. It's about the mind, because the money follows the mind. If you learn how to become more attractive, you don't have to worry about chasing money because the money's chasing you. What do you mean? It's called creating value. Again, going into wealth creation. This is the foundation of building a business. What do all businesses do around the world? They're creating value for someone other than themselves. What the hell, man? Are y'all listening? Are y'all hearing me? Are y'all here? Are y'all with me? Hello? You have to learn how to create value for someone other than yourself, which means you have to actually be empathetic and listen to what they want. And they might try to fool you and tell you that they're contempt and all that stuff. Yeah, okay. I get full off food too at times, but I get hungry eventually too. Does this make sense? So all I'm saying is this. Desire is the first step of all achievement. Once I know what you want, the only thing next is, okay, what are you willing to do to achieve it? Because you can have anything you want in life if you want it badly enough and if you are willing to pay the price. There are only two prices to success. You always got to pay up front and you always got to pay in advance. Excuse me. You always got to pay in advance and you always got to pay full price. Like, for example, you don't go to the gym and pay for muscles. No, you go in there and you suffer, right? You don't get wise by not gaining experience. No, you burn your hand on that fucking stove, right? You don't become fast by sitting on the couch all day eating Cheetos. You go out there and you find someone with the results you're seeking and you do exactly what they tell you until you discover they're lying or they don't know what they're talking about. That is the foundation of leadership, which is merit. Merits are the foundation of leadership. What do you mean? Can you show your work? What do these results come from? Do results just happen? No. Results don't just happen. Outcomes don't just happen. Every outcome has every outcome has income. Every input has an output. Every output has an input. There's a male and female, and up and down, the hot and cold, the left and the right. So we have to understand if you want a certain outcome, you got to start doing things in a certain way when you're doing the income. In other words, if you want a certain input, you got to start doing things in a certain output. Excuse me. If you want a certain output, you have to start doing things in a certain way in regards to input. What do your daily habits look like, in other words? Because success is not the result of doing one action. Success is the result of daily habits. Why do you think King Solomon asked for wisdom? He didn't pray for strength. He didn't pray for money. He prayed for wisdom. Why? It's the foundation to attract the other two. So let's stop with the games, guys. Let's stop with the games. What are you willing to do to get what you want? And you don't have to compromise your values. You don't have to go against your principles. You don't have to compromise your character, right? You can still get what you want without violating other people. That is possible. Not everything's a scam, right? If you think everything's a scam, you're poor because you're still confused about money and you're passing over opportunities repeatedly. These are acronyms, right? These are acronyms. Passing over opportunities repeatedly. Poor, scam, still confused about money. If you're still confused about money, you're poor, which means you're going to naturally pass over opportunities repeatedly. The thing is, guys, if you're poor, you can't afford to be skeptical. Sorry. If you're ignorant, you can't afford to be stupid. If you're weak, right? Or if you're strong, you can't afford to be weak. And if you're weak, you can't afford to be weak for too long, right? If you're broke, you can't afford that. I'm telling you, you can't afford that. You can't afford no one can afford being broke. We all got to work. In all labor, there is profit. But I don't talk leads to poverty. I don't talk about working. I go out and work. That's why I make these videos. Started a YouTube channel. Posting this on YouTube, but Facebook saw it first. With that being said, guys, that is the message I wanted to leave with you guys today. 2 videos a week, Tuesdays and Thursdays. I'm going to be consistent with this. I'm going to make sure that I'm consistent with this. I'm going to set an alarm. And let's get some things going. And if you're looking for something, I am looking to build a team of 20 people who are actually looking to eliminate distractions, to get ruthless in regards to results, right? And then are willing to follow one course until successful. I need them to focus. Follow one course until successful. And I'll give you a $25,000 idea from Earl Nightingale that I got, right? To help you out. I want you to write the 6 most important things you got to do tomorrow. Take your time, no rush. Take about 5 minutes, should be. Afterwards, number 2 is you're going to then prioritize them by the degree of urgency they have to be done. Which one's more necessary to do now than later? You prioritize them. And then finally, you follow one course until successful. You just do one thing at a time. And if that does not boost your productivity, I don't know what else will. But with that being said, guys, I love you. I hope you guys found some value in this. Peace.